Welcome back, everyone, for another video. More Battleborn, and Battleborn's going to kind of be dominant for about this week, and maybe a little bit into the next. And the title of this video, or the topic of this video, is what is Battleborn and should you buy it? Battleborn it's an interesting game because it's very new and unique and different, but yet it's familiar enough where it's kind of comfortable to jump in and just be able to play. If you were a fan of Borderlands, which most of you, assuming watching this, are from my channel, it doesn't mean you're going to love this game. I do, but I love Borderlands for different reasons than some other people. This is not the big kind of open world, sprawling, long story of Borderlands. This is it's a PvP MOBA story mode. I mean, you can name this thing as many genres as you want. I don't really care about that. But I guess let's start with the story mode, because I've seen this come up in the forums and a few other places. If you want something with a big sprawling story that you spend hundreds of hours playing that story like an RPG, this is not really for you. And don't expect that. I guess that's part of what I'm going to be going into this video, to try to temper expectations, or you know what you're getting with it, now that I've been able to play quite a bit of it. The story is good, and there's some depth to it, and there's a lot of lore, and you can dive into that if you want to. But you're not going to have this long story. You're going to have a bunch of short story modes. Your first time playing a story mode might be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But once you get used to them, they're going to be more like 20 to 30 minutes. And there's only 8 of those, so it doesn't sound like a lot of playtime. But don't get discouraged about that, because Battleborn wasn't designed to have that long, sprawling story. It was designed for a story where you can get in and out and play it in many different ways. Kind of like every time you start a story or a PvP mode or a PvE or anything, you're leveling up from 1 to 10. So that theme goes throughout this game, where it's all about kind of that quick succession, quick play mode. And that's what the story mode is. It's meant so you can really replay it a lot. And when you replay it, you get a different experience, even playing the same story. Whether it's a different character, or different characters bring different dialogue into the mode, so you hear new things, which keeps it kind of interesting. But even a different team makeup can really change it. So I might be playing the same character, but because my teammates are different, that changes it. Whether the characters they pick or just the people I play with. So the story mode is built more on repeatability, rather than a long kind of grind out story. So this Borderlands was like an RPG first person shooter. This is not so much of the RPG of it. And that's important to kind of understand and be ready for. Gearbox has talked about this, but the video game journalism has done such a terrible job of kind of reporting on this game. Like, is it a MOBA? Is it not? And stupid they're fucking idiots, okay? They're all fucking morons. But this game, it's got a good, fun story mode. I absolutely have a blast with it. But once again, I want to make sure everyone kind of understands what that is. And they're not expecting, Fallout or Borderlands 2 or Skyrim. Like, it's not built to be that. So when I hear people complain about that, it's kind of silly. Like, you're complaining about something they told you it's not. And part of that might just be, again, the press has done such a bad job covering this game, and they haven't explained what it was. Gearbox has been saying these things, but people don't hear them and repeat them and listen to them. Gearbox has been very open about all this and what it is. So the story mode, we have 8 missions to start with. And from what we've seen so far, I've seen 4 of the 8. And each one is very different, not only like in an environment, but in the kind of mode you play. Some of them are more, you go a certain bit, mob a little bit, and then you have a boss, mob a little bit more, another boss, mob a bit more, and then a third boss. Another one was war wave mode, where you go through a mob and then you get to this big kind of horde mode wave that you got to fight through with those, and then another one and another one. And each of them are themed different. Another one is more kiting your spider around and protecting him to get to a place, I guess. Lack of a better word. And so each mission has a very distinct feel, and that's really cool. Not only do they have different environments, but environments can be false. In Borderlands 1, everything was brown, and people complain. And then Borderlands 2, like, look, they have this one's snow and this one's grass. But if it's snow and grass, but the combat experience is the same, I don't really care if it's a different environment. In Battleborn, they've really created different combat experiences based on the maps and the style and the mode. So that's great. The other thing I really like about the story mode is Gearbox has really kicked up their game on designing boss fights. I love the Borderlands franchise, don't get me wrong, but boss fights are not really the strength of it, in my opinion. When you go through your story mode, you meet Captain Knuckle Dragger and Captain Flint and then Wilhelm. None of these are good mechanic bosses. They're really straightforward, just shoot them till you kill them. They have some ads, but not a lot. There's not a lot to them. And even Warrior at the end game wasn't that great. A lot of the raid bosses are meh. And it was more the combat I loved it. And this one, they really upped the boss game. The bosses are more unique, more varied, actually have phases to them, actually have mechanics to them. And that's really encouraging. So that's the other really good thing about story mode is it's just good gameplay. The other thing of you guys that have watched my content for a while, I love really dense, good, thick mobbing. And that's what the pre-sequel let me down on. And this game has it. It is really fantastic and it's really fun. It can be really challenging. 5-player mode really kicks it up. Advanced kicks it up a little. I hope they release a harder mode other than that. But the story mode is really good. And that's hopefully I've kind of explained somewhat to expect out of it without giving too much away. So past this, before I go on, the story mode, you can do it private or public. In private, you can go with however many friends you want, from single player to 5-player, and play it. Or you can go public and invite other people, and again, go up to 5 players. There's no switch yet to I only want 2 people in it or 3 people in public. But if there's not enough people queued up, which isn't a problem in the early access because not a lot of people have it, you'll just go on with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, whatever. But I'm guessing once it goes live, you'll go to 5 players pretty quickly on that because there's going to be a ton of people playing. Next, you have public and private PvE. So far, we have 3 modes. We have Meltdown, which I put a video out of yesterday. Meltdown is great. It is kind of your MOBA style. You have minions that walk to a giant trash-talking death door that wants to eat them, and you try to deliver them. Very MOBA-ish again. You have 2 lanes in all these. We've seen 2 maps so far, and it's 5v5. Now, like all PvP modes, you can do them public or private. So when you do them public, you just queue up and fill up 5v5. If you go private, you don't get experience for leveling up in private, but you can just play with your friends versus bots. And you can split up into teams or play in the same team. So you can go 5 of your friends versus 5 bots. You can go 2 of you versus 5 bots. Or you can do 2 of you and fill up your team versus 5 bots. Or 2 of you, 3 of your friends, fill up with bots, or 2v3. You can really do it however you want. And this is a cool mode too. I understand they couldn't put experience in that, otherwise people could kind of game the system. But it's a fun extra option for those of you that, I don't like PvP. You might want to try those modes, but if you can just play that with your friends versus bots, that's adding more content to you so you're not stuck to only the story. And I think that's a great thing that they did, because I do know quite a few people out there that are just a little hesitant to dip their toes into PvP for many reasons, and that's fair. So the next PvP mode is Incursion. Incursion, you again have minions you need to escort, and there are sentries you need to kill. It's kind of, I guess, a tower defense, but a little bit different. Your tower is a giant spider robot, which Gearbox seems to love because we had that in the peak, and now we're seeing a lot of them here. And you escort your minions to, hopefully help you take that guy down, take down his shields. And there's, again, well, I don't know if those ones really lanes. There's a lot of paths. I guess you could call them lanes, but you have 2 sentries you try to protect and or kill. This mode's a lot of fun. It's quite a bit different than just a regular PvP, adding a lot of different aspects to it. You can go kill these giant thralls and then summon them to be on your team to help you push. You can summon elite minion bots to help you push. There's a lot of turrets. There's accelerators to help your bots go faster. There's just so much to these turrets, healing stations, a lot of options. And those things also exist in the Meltdown for the most part, not the Thralls. So Incursion is a whole lot of fun and a different kind of PvP that you have to do more than just, try to kill each other. You got to play roles in it. The third mode we have right now is Capture, where you have 3 points in A, B, and C, and you try to capture them. The more points you capture, the more you win. This one doesn't really have the minions, and it still has turrets and healing stations. They play a little bit less of a role in this one than they do in the others from what I've seen so far. And there are no minions in this. It's just straight kind of player versus player. But again, if you're not capturing the points, you're just going around killing players, you will lose. They do not just have a straightforward deathmatch yet. I don't know if that'll be added or not, but they are adding more maps, more modes, more characters, and more stories. In the Season Pass, there are 5 more story modes. Each of those will come with skins and taunts as well, so that you can, customize your character, I guess. People like that. Each of those are $5 a pack, or if you get the Season Pass, I think it's $20 for $25, or $5 off for getting all 5. So that's not bad. There's 5 new characters they've announced that they're working on, and they will all be free. I've heard if you had the Season Pass, they just are instantly unlocked for you. If you don't have the Season Pass, you will have to unlock them through various challenges and whatnot. So that's kind of the future of the game and what the game's about. So if you're a Borderlands fan, will you love this game? It depends on what you liked of Borderlands. And if you were about collecting loot, this game actually has good loot. Now, most of the loot you will unlock through the story mode. Not so much through PvP. Well, you do get some credits and you can buy packs. But in the story mode, you get a lot of packs, you get a lot of loot, and you get a lot of currency to buy loot and packs. And the loot plays a very different role in this in Borderlands. You don't see the loot on you like you do in Borderlands. But there is different gear and different rarities like Borderlands. And you can equip up to 3 pieces in a loadout. And they'll have a lot of key stats. Attack damage, attack speed, reload speed, recoil reduction, cooldown time, healing, shield recharge, shield capacity, damage reduction, so on and so on. And sometimes you'll have 2 positives and a negative, or 1 positive or 2 positives. So you can combine a lot of different gear. The gear system is actually quite complex, and it's really good. I'm surprised how good it really is. And it makes a difference, but it's not game-breaking of a difference, and that's important in a PvP thing. One of the things that really balances out is you have to unlock it in-game by paying shards. Shards are things you pick up as you play. So there is better gear, but that gear will have a higher unlock cost. So the unlock cost from what we've seen so far is from 0 to 1,800. The 0 gear it'll be like a white gear. It'll have 1 positive and a negative. So, example, I play a lot of Thorn. She doesn't have a shield because she's Eldred. So I'll have like an attack damage, but it has negative shield capacity. I don't care about that, and I can just activate it and not worry about that penalty. The elite gear, the legendary gear, is quite a bit more. So if you like collecting gear, you can get into this. But I was warning, if you're all about like playing a solo player long RPG story, this might not be the game for you. If the thing you liked about Borderlands was just the overall combat of it, this is probably a game for you. If the only thing you like to do at endgame was beat raid bosses, maybe not. The boss fights in this are pretty good, but you can't just go fight that boss. You got to fight through a 20-minute story to get to that boss. So I don't know if you love it or not, if that was kind of your thing. Endgame for this is really PvP and just replayability. I mean, endgame isn't actually that much different from the beginning of the game. And with 25 characters, there should be a lot of depth you can get through that. And the characters do truly play different depending on how you build them. And that's a lot of fun too. We'll have 30. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get those 5 others after release, but 30 characters. And they could build more after that if it keeps going good. That is a huge chunk of playable characters, and especially because you can spec them and play them differently, it's oh so much better. All the different character combinations. They put up those slides when they were previewing this at one of the PAXs, just showing all the raw numbers and stuff. People are like, it's just kind of bullshit marketing. But it really does have a ton of variation. And that is incredibly spectacular and something I really love. There's a lot of mechanics about the game. There's a lot of depth to it. And that's what I love about it. So, if you're a PvP guy, you're going to probably like this because it's really good PvP, but it's different and it's complex and it's deep to keep you interested. It's not just the same thing over and over and over. It should have a lot to offer for a lot of people. But again, that doesn't mean it's for everyone. So I don't want to encourage everyone to buy this. This game's awesome. I love it. Everyone needs it. If you're going to buy it for the wrong reasons. So I wanted to make sure if you guys are getting into this game, you're watching, you like it, try to understand what it is and buy it for the right reasons. I just don't like people to waste their money or waste their time into something they don't like. Now, back to the Borderlands point. The thing this really shares with Borderlands is just that Gearbox feel. It's got the humor, it's got the wit and the charm and the feels and all that stuff. And that's part of the thing that I loved about part of what made up Borderlands was that. The combat doesn't really feel all that similar to Borderlands. It's a lot faster. Just different. People have said it looks like Borderlands. I don't think it does. I mean, yeah, it's got an art style and it's kind of animated and looks a bit cartoony, but that's like saying Aladdin looks the same as Princess Mononoke. Sure, they're both animated movies, but that doesn't mean they're the same. I don't think the combat actually feels that much the same as Borderlands. I mean, it's still a first-person shooter, but with all the skills of this, it's so much more than your action skills. It just feels like Borderlands hyped up or Borderlands accelerated. It's faster, it's more intense, there's more enemies coming at you. It's just different. I don't know how to exactly explain that, but if you liked that Borderlands feel, that Gearbox feel, and you're not looking for a big RPG story, this is probably going to be a good game for you. I guess, if you guys have questions about this game, I've now played it in the CTT, the early access, the open beta. Let me know in the comments, what are your concerns about this game, if I can address those. What are you excited about? Because, I'm going to be doing a lot on this game in the near future. This is going to be the next big game I probably get into because I've been having an absolute blast with it. So I guess I'd like to just kind of start an open dialogue about that for you guys. It comes out in about a little over a week here. It comes out on May 3rd, so it's not that far away. So if you haven't pre-ordered or if you're on the fence about it, let me know. Let me know what kind of questions you have, what kind of comments and concerns. I think that's all I've got for this video. I've got a few minutes left, so I guess you can just watch us finish up. I was playing with Elstrafe here, or Left Strafe, and Gvan, who is actually a Gearbox dev. And we were in the Renegade mode, and this is that Horde mode match I was talking about earlier. You kind of see some of this and just how intense it gets. Yeah, it's just fantastic, fantastic gameplay. And I think this mission, or this video, is like 25 minutes. We probably finished the mission in a little bit less than that. And that's about the average length you're going to get out. And I think that's a really good length for those. So that is it for today. I will talk to you all later, and you can just watch the last few minutes of this without me talking over it for once. If you guys have not subscribed, please do that. I appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can join my Discord if you want to get a hold of me. Or join the Battleborn Discord, which I'm in quite a bit too, playing on there. And I will see you all later. Thanks. Bye.
He's done. He's just put him on the last bit. What is this big circle thing around my head? Oh, they knocked me off. How dare they? Wait, no one's on the other side? I said I could do this side.
Yeah, they weren't there yet, so I was waiting. I'm going to let them come through and get them.
Yeah, I mean, they're only little baby ones.
Yeah. And they've got to deal with the turrets on their way in.
This wave dead? I don't know. Oh, there's more. I'm a little rocket ship.
Oh, nice. Slow down plus slow blight. Good
Oh, they're
for
on the
these guys
road.
getting through.
Think this.
I'm just going to kind of back up to here when they come through, because they're all on all sides here.
I think this might be my last wave on this side. No, I think there's a few more spawning.
That's not bad. Core had a lot of life left.
Hmm.
Got everything on cooldown, ready for the fight. Where are they? Back in the blight, buddy. Where you belong. He just doesn't listen. Guess I'll have to kill him.
Made very much.
close range volley does so much damage. When you can land all, I had the +2, so all 7 right on his head.
I believe you said something about slaying Lothar Rente. Please allow me to help.
You'll hear no argument from me. Come back to the ship, everyone. We've got a lot more work to do.
Oh no. Yay, Master of Isaac 1 or 2.